are back. Welcome to my preview and predictions for Game Week 4 of the Premier League. Yes, club football returns for 4 more weeks before we head off to yet another international break. But what an international break we had on this channel. One of the single most viewed and most interactive weeks we have ever had in the channel's history. So as always, a massive thank you to all of you guys that got involved in the international break as club football now returns for the next 4 weeks. What I will say is I'm going to do a little bit of admin. So if you want to just jump straight to the predictions, you can. Chapters available at the bottom of your screen right now. But what I want to remind you all is that I've already posted my La Liga preview and predictions for this morning. Those were posted an hour ago. And starting next week, the Champions League preview and predictions series returns, as well as the next round of the EFL Cup. Speaking of the Champions League, I have once again launched my Champions League Fantasy Football. Code is available on your screen right now. And of course, it will be in the description and in the pinned comment of this video, as well as links to the community page where you can already have your say on the 18 Champions League matches we have got taking place this week. I'm loving the community predictions we're doing so far this season. So obviously I'm bringing those to the Champions League as well. Those are already posted. My EFL community polls will be posted tomorrow morning. So make sure you are using that link to have your say on all the matches I'm going to be covering next week. Speaking of those matches, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video. If you enjoy all of my preview and prediction series, share it with a friend and make sure that you are subscribed with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of those videos we've got coming up for you next week. And if you somehow still want even more previews and predictions from me, you can click that join button at the bottom of your screen right now to become a member of the channel, giving you access to my thoughts on Ligue 1, Bundesliga and Serie A, just like these 3 wonderful people did last week. So thank you for becoming a member of the channel. You now have full access to all of my thoughts on all of the top 5 major European leagues for this season. Like I say, hit the join button to join these wonderful people in gaining access to extra stuff from this channel. Right, I believe that is all of the admin covered. If I did miss any of it, I can only apologise to myself, but these are the 10 matches taking place in the Premier League this week. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Only one place to start, which is the Saturday lunchtime kickoff between Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. And we've had the first managerial sacking of the season, with Nuno Espirito Santo making his departure from Nottingham Forest in very, very strange circumstances, it has to be said. I'm not saying he should have been straight away sacked for losing 3-0 at home to West Ham, but it just gave Marinakis the excuse he needed after the fallout from the transfer window, etc., etc. And Ange Postecoglou is back, so Nottingham Forest fans, write off your hopes for this season, but fear not, next season Ange will be delivering you a trophy. Speaking of signings, though, it's exactly what Nottingham Forest have done yet again. Even without a manager, they signed 5 new players on deadline day. Savona from Juve, Cubiano and John Victor from Botafogo, Zinchenko, ironically from their opponents for this match, Arsenal, and of course the highly rated Strasbourg player Barker. I don't know. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. I'm a bit of a Paul Merson when it comes to that. In terms of Forest, though, obviously Zinchenko cannot play against his parent club. So we don't know. We definitely know he's not going to play. But other than that, new manager, so many new signings. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what the Forest lineup's going to be, because I don't think anyone has any idea right now. Maybe even Ange doesn't know at the time I'm recording this. As for Arsenal, though, much simpler for them. 2 wins in their first 2 matches, and then that incredibly boring 1-0 defeat to Liverpool. But they were able to make another recruitment before deadline day, with Hincapié coming in on loan from Leverkusen with an obligation to buy. Essentially finishing off their squad. They do look like a very good squad coming into this season. What I would say, though, is coming into this, they still have a whole host of injuries, the likes of Bukayo Saka, Ben White, William Saliba, Christian Norgard, all being unavailable for this match. And of course, they do have their opening game against Bilbao in the Champions League next week before they play Manchester City. So maybe we could see some rotation from Mikel Arteta, but they can't afford to take the eye off the ball against the Forest side. They're going to be well up for it with their new man in charge. The last time these two sides met, it was a 3-0 victory for Arsenal at the Emirates, a 0-0 draw at the City Ground. I think even with everything going on, I would still expect Arsenal to come away with the result here. So I'm going for a 2-0 victory to Arsenal. Now, for the first time this season, we have 5 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturdays. The most we've had in a very, very long while, it seems. But the opening game here has the potential for a lot of fun. We've got Bournemouth taking on Brighton. Bournemouth off the back of their 1-0 away win at Spurs. Brighton off the back of their incredibly impressive win over Manchester City last time out. Realistically, the only piece of team news I can bring you for this match is that Adam Smith picked up an injury in that victory at Spurs for Bournemouth. He is expected to miss this game, which means that new signing Alex Jimenez could come straight in to the starting lineup at right back for Bournemouth in this match. No fresh concerns for Brighton at all, who are likely to name a very similar starting lineup to the one that beat Manchester City. Maybe we see the likes of Gruder come into the starting lineup after scoring that winning goal for them off the bench last time out. But honestly, it would surprise me to see many changes from Fabian Hürzeler coming into this. Last season, both matches, home and away, were 1-2-1 by Brighton. So it should be noted that they do have a good record against Bournemouth. Furthermore, Bournemouth have already lost at home this season, albeit in the League Cup to another Premier League side. They went down 2-0 to Brentford that day. To be honest, I really could see this one going either way. I don't think there's much between these two sides at all. As I said at the start, I think this is going to be an entertaining one. I'd expect there to be a lot of goals, and I'm going to go straight down the middle with a 2-2 draw in this one. The next one, I also think we're going to see some goals because it is Crystal Palace taking on Sunderland here. And coming into this, Crystal Palace are now 8th in the Premier League table off the back of their 3-0 away win to Aston Villa in game week 3. Sunderland, though, they're doing even better. They're up in 6th place after winning their 2 opening home games of the season, but they did lose 2-0 to Burnley in their only away fixture so far. So even though they're in 6th, you would have to say that Crystal Palace are the favourites for this match. That said, Sunderland continued to be busy in the transfer market on deadline day as they went all Dutch, bringing in Gertruida on loan, bringing in Brobby from Ajax, and this obviously guy isn't Dutch, but Bertrand Traore coming in also from Ajax on deadline day. All expected to feature somewhat in this match, with I would expect Gertruida and Brobby likely to potentially start this game, given how good they are. Concerns for Palace coming into this one as well, though. Adam Wharton and Ismail Assar, both serious doubt coming into this game. And Mark Gahey obviously is going to be available after not signing for Liverpool, but maybe some tensions between them coming into this. What they do, though, is have Uche available for this match. He is signed from Getafe after making a good start to his season in Spain. Ultimately, as I've said already, I expect there to be goals in this match. I expect Crystal Palace to be favourites in this match. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 victory to Crystal Palace in this match. Now we have a really, really interesting one. We have the team that has impressed me the most so far this season in Everton, taking on the side that has disappointed me, for lack of a better word, the most so far this season in Aston Villa. Everton currently sit in 5th place after back-to-back wins. All of their new signings look to have hit the ground running, and it means they're in a Champions League place as things stand. For Aston Villa, 1 point from their opening 3 games, which means they're in 19th place. They've not scored a single goal yet, and as we've just mentioned, lost 3-0 at home to Crystal Palace before the international break. Serious improvement needed by Unai Emery's side coming into this one, but it's not going to be helped by the fact that they've still lost key midfielders. Onana and Kamara both set to miss this game, but there is some positives for them in regard to their deadline day in business. Firstly, Emi Martinez did stay at the club, but again, like the Gay situation, is there going to be some tension there? They signed Victor Lindelof, Harvey Elliott and Jadon Sancho, who are all available for this match. So potential for them to show some signs of improvement. For Everton, no fresh injury concerns for them, but still no return for Jarrad Branthwaite as things stand. Could Tyler Dibbling make his first start for Everton in this match, joining the likes of Njai and Grealish in those attacking areas of the pitch? Everton looking very, very exciting right now. Honestly, it's really difficult to look past an Everton win right now. You've got to look at that form and say they are playing so much better football than Aston Villa right now. The one key positive you would give Villa coming into this is that they did win both fixtures last season, including a 1-0 victory at Goodison Park last time they were away at Everton. Obviously, new stadium for them now, new attitude, new lineup. I do think Everton are going to come out on top. It wouldn't surprise me to see Villa get something, but I'm going for a 2-0 win to Everton. Next up, it is Fulham taking on Leeds. Fulham in the relegation zone after 2 draws and a defeat at Stamford Bridge in controversial circumstances, it has to be said, on game week 3. For Leeds, they were able to back up their hammering by Arsenal by putting in a really solid defensive display against Newcastle last time out, which does mean they managed to accumulate 4 points from their 2 home matches so far. Could they now start improving themselves in front of goal with the signing of Noah Okafor? We shall see. Fulham, though, they've also bolstered their ranks with a signing from AC Milan. They have picked up Chukwueze, but they've also signed Kevin from Shakhtar Donetsk for a club record fee. Could be an interesting one, this. No fresh injury or suspension concerns for either side. But for Leeds, still no Tanaka and still no Ethan Ampadu. When these two sides met 2 years ago in Leeds' relegation season, it was Fulham that got the home win and the away win. So I would expect Fulham to get their opening victory of the season here. Don't think it's going to be too far away from a Leeds result, though. And I'm going to go for 2-1 to Fulham. Final 3 o'clock game then sees Newcastle in 17th. Taking on technically the worst side in the Premier League so far this season in Wolves. Newcastle with 2 0-0 draws in their 2 away games so far this season, but a home defeat to Liverpool is why they are in 17th place, despite an unbelievable performance in that regard. It is still better, of course, than Wolves' 3 straight defeats, and at least they did show some signs of resistance in their loss to Everton last time out, where, in my opinion, they were also robbed of a clear penalty in that match. To make matters worse for Wolves, it looks like Strand Larsen could be injured for this match. The man that could have moved to Newcastle if Wolves wanted to take the money for him. If he's missing from their lineup as well, it is going to be a real struggle for them. At least they were able to bring in a new striker in Arokadare or something like that from Belgium for 25 million over the course of the deadline day period. Newcastle, of course, they made some big money moves in the transfer market in the last few days as well. Voldemata is now officially in the door. And, of course, Johan Visser from Brentford has come in as well. Which one of them starts this game, we shall see. What we do know is that Anthony Gordon is still going to be suspended. Jacob Ramsey and Joelinton, both major injury doubts for them coming into this. So we could potentially see a world where Voldemata and Visser both start. Who knows? We shall see. Ultimately, though, you would expect Newcastle to get the victory in this match, given how poor Wolves have been so far in this competition. The last 2 games at St James's Park between these two sides have ended in 3-0 victories to Newcastle. So even though they have brought in a new striker, I'm just going to wind it back in a little bit for this one. Still going to go for the Newcastle win. I'm going for a 2-0 victory to them. On to the 5:30 kickoff then, and it is a massive London derby between West Ham United and Tottenham Hotspur. And if you'd have given me this fixture at the start of game week 3, I would have said easy win for Tottenham Hotspur. Exactly like I said it would be an easy win for Nottingham Forest against West Ham on match day 3, but that did not prove to be the case. It actually ended up being an easy 3-0 win for West Ham at the City Ground. Meanwhile, Tottenham were losing at home to Bournemouth. So all of a sudden, despite the fact that these teams are way apart in the Premier League table, this fixture has just become a lot closer, it has to be said. Both sides were busy on deadline day, with West Ham bringing in Igor and then signing Fabianski just a couple of days ago once again as a free agent. Meanwhile, Tottenham were bringing in France international striker Randall Kolo Muani, who could make his Premier League debut in this match. I do think it's going to be a really close one. There's also Xavi Simons to consider. Couldn't play in their last match. He is available for this one. I do think, though, that West Ham's change to 4-2-3-1 that worked so well against Forest last time out could prove Really crucial for them in this fixture again here. It should be noted that in terms of the head-to-head record, the last 3 games in a row on this ground have finished in 1-1 draws, and Spurs actually haven't won at the London Stadium since 2019. I honestly do believe that all 3 results are available for this. I would still have Spurs as slight favourites, but I'm going for yet another 1-1 draw between these 2 sides. Final game on Saturday, an 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday evening. We don't see those very often. Keeps us in London as Brentford take on Chelsea, with Chelsea obviously being the side feeling more confident coming into this off the back of that incredibly highly controversial win over Fulham last time out. Brentford, unfortunately for them, it was yet another defeat, going down 2-1 to Sunderland on match day 3, which means they are on just 3 points from their opening 3 matches. The good news for them, though, is that they have no fresh injury concerns coming into this and have signed Reece Nelson from Arsenal, who is expected to play some part in this match for them. For Chelsea, we're unlikely to see a return for Cole Palmer in this match. More likely he makes his return in the Champions League game in midweek for them. However, there is definitely going to be no Liam Delap for them. They also have a few other injuries, but they have got new signings Alejandro Garnacho and Facundo Buenanotte available to them for this match after their deadline day moves. Brentford, to be fair, do actually have a fairly decent record against Chelsea. They've only lost 2 of the 8 league matches they have played since promotion to the Premier League. However, 3 of those matches have been wins at Stamford Bridge, and they haven't actually beaten Chelsea at home. The last 3 meetings on this ground have ended in draws. Again, I will reiterate, Chelsea are in Champions League action in midweek, so we could see some of that Maresca rotation. I'm seeing a lot of reports suggesting that Cucurella will not start this game, but I'll remain to be seen on that one. We'll see what actually happens come Saturday evening. I feel like I still have to go for the Chelsea win here, though. They are playing some fantastic stuff at the moment, even with the players they've got unavailable. So I'm going for a 3-1 victory to Chelsea. On to Sunday then, we have just 2 games, and the opening game sees Burnley taking on Liverpool. Liverpool, the defending champions, and after 3 game weeks, the only side with a 100% record in the Premier League so far this season. And what you would say is they've not really been at their best in any of their matches so far. So, God help the rest of us if Liverpool do start putting in some decent performances. And what better team than to put it in than against the relegation favourites in Burnley for this season. That said, we all know how good Burnley's home record was last season, certainly in terms of defensive displays, and they've already managed to get a win and a clean sheet at home this season, albeit against fellow promoted side Sunderland. So, if buts and maybes when it comes to this, I don't think anyone's going to be too surprised that I obviously expect Liverpool to win this match. The big question coming into it is how much of a part is their club record and British record summer signing Alexander Isak going to play in this match? I would expect him to start on the bench. I don't see any reason why they would change the front line of Gakpo, Ekitike and Salah. Again, especially with Champions League coming up in midweek, I think it's much more likely you'll see Isak start that game instead. For Burnley, no fresh injury or suspension concerns for them, and they've made a new signing as well in holding midfielder Florentino Luis, who I think is a very, very good player and could be a key man for them this season. Realistically, though, we're obviously going to go for a Liverpool victory here. No surprises there. I'm going to go for a 3-0 victory for them, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe Burnley can make their ground the fortress it was last season once again. And then finally, it is the main event, as it is the Manchester derby. Manchester City and Manchester United, where somehow, despite Manchester United being in 9th and Manchester City being in 13th, all the talk and all the pressure is once again on Manchester United manager Ruben Amorim. Meanwhile, Pep Guardiola seems to be able to get away with losing 2 of the first 3 matches this season. All eyes in regards to the team news in this one is going to be on the goalkeeper situation. Is it going to be Trafford or is Gianluigi Donnarumma going to make his Manchester City debut here? For Manchester United, Onana is finally gone. So will it be Bayindir or will it be new signing Sene Lammens in goal for them? In terms of injuries and suspensions, there's quite a lot for both teams here, actually. Manchester City are set to be without Ryan Cherki, Omar Mamouche, Gvardiol, John Stones, and there are doubts for Kushanov and Rico Lewis. So 4 of Manchester City's defenders are major doubts for this match. For Manchester United, it looks likely that they're going to be without Mateus Cunha and Mason Mount, but the rest of their squad is available, and Nuzem Mazraoui is back once again. But where is he going to play? Is he going to be on the bench? Is he going to come in at centre-back? Is he going to go in at right wing-back? There are some suggestions he may go into midfield as the partner for Bruno Fernandes. We shall see. Obviously, of course, there is one man who's going to be looking to build off of his 5 goals against Moldova for Norway last week, and that is, of course, Erling Haaland. I mean, how good are you if you can't even score half the goals against Moldova? I mean, realistically, come on, man. You only scored 5. Your team scored 11. Erling, you've got to do better. But here's the thing. As you all know, Manchester United fan, as you all know, Manchester City have made a poor start to the season. As I've just explained, they have a huge defensive injury crisis. And if you actually look at the numbers so far this season in regards to attacks, shots on goal, expected goals, touches in the opposition box, successful crosses, all of the metrics in terms of attacking football, Manchester United are top of the table so far this season. It's just that conversion rate that is letting them down. So given how poor Manchester City have been so far this season, given how good Manchester United have been in terms of creating chances so far this season, and of course given the fact that I'm a Manchester United fan, I'm going 3-1 to Manchester United. I'm not even going for the cautious 2-1. I'm going for a confident Manchester United victory here. But, of course, I'm not going to hide away from the fact that Manchester City should absolutely be considered the favourites for this match. But let's not forget, United won at the Etihad last season as well, when City were sort of starting to make their resurgence and Manchester United were being talked about getting relegated. So, as a United fan, I'm confident for this match, but as a, I don't know, whatever you want to call me, as a YouTube prediction man, I will tell you that Manchester City should absolutely be considered the favourites for this match. I just honestly think Manchester United are going to get the win here. We shall see. All that is left to do then for these matches is, as always, show you what you guys have been saying in regards to these fixtures. And here are your predictions now. No genuine surprises here. You guys once again going for the outright favourites in every match. The one that I would sort of show that ear of caution to, 65% of you going for Spurs. I do think that is very, very dodgy. I'm also surprised so many people have gone for Aston Villa to win at Everton, but yeah, they're a side that are bound to come good at some point. I just don't think it's going to be this weekend. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. This is what you guys think is going to happen. That is what I think is going to happen for Premier League Game Week 4. Don't forget to check out all of those things I mentioned at the start of the video. Links will, of course, be available in the description and in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'll be back with my post-match reaction to that Manchester derby on Sunday. And then we've got Champions League and EFL Cup videos coming for you next week. Final thank you very much for watching once again. I'll see you very soon.